welcome back to The Issue. I'm Mark Carr, my co-host Mike Wallace, and if you do want to get involved in the conversation, Joey, our producer, will run the phone number at the bottom of the screen, and you can go to Twitter, hashtag The Issue, let us know what you think, or on Facebook, The Issue, and we'll get your question or comment on the air. So, Mike, once again, you have brought an interesting guest.
Well, Robert Stephen is the CEO and president of the Art Gallery of Burlington. And tell us a little bit, Robert, about the job that you have, what your role is, how long you've been here, and maybe a little bit about your background, just so we have a kind of a concept of where you are in your development here in Burlington.
Okay, so cut me off whenever you need to. So what I do,
okay, go ahead.
So I'm to blame for everything at the Art Gallery. The CEO's job is really to guide the organization with the support and guidance of the board of directors, and we happen to have 2 boards of directors at the gallery, so I have 30 bosses. But inside the organization, I'm the boss. I'm the one to blame for how much money we raise, which is a key concern, and how much service we do to the community. We're in the service provision business, and so our business is to free minds, feed spirits, build community, and I'm the one who has to try to advise the board what I think that means, how I think we're doing, and how we can do better, and I have to be accountable for whether we can find the resources to do that.
So you then would work with Angela on budget time when it comes up. It seems your role and Angela's role are very similar, only she's looking at, well, I guess you are too, entire city of Burlington.
So what is the relationship between the Art Gallery and the city of Burlington?
So keeping in mind that the Art Gallery is a corporation without share, a not-for-profit corporation, a registered charity, the City of Burlington is our biggest funder and biggest partner. They own the land we're on. They own the building we reside in. They provide us about 40% of our annual expense through a grant process that it's actually council that controls. But we do work closely with Angela on a number of projects, whether that is occasionally supporting things like the juries she talked about, or I sit on the Cultural Action Plan Implementation Committee with her. You know, the community artists that we work with are the very same people who are involved in the Arts and Culture Council of Burlington and the other projects that she deals with. So there's constant interaction there.
You're relatively new to the Art Gallery. I've been there a little over a year, I think now. There's been some change there. Well, even in the name, you know, we did some rebranding and it's changed over. I think that was slightly done before you got there.
That's right.
But it was time for I think for the Art Gallery to do a strategic plan to figure out who they were and where they were going. And I think that process is now done. What would you say is the strategic plan for the what's the vision? Where's the Art Gallery going for Burlington?
Yeah, so we really thought it through. We did community consultations, we did community surveys, we surveyed our stakeholders, we did a lot of work with the support of the Burlington Economic Development Corporation. And what we came to is we want to build on our assets, and our assets are really in the idea of supporting artists. That's always been our thing. We support local artists, but we want to support artists at all levels, including elite professional ones who might be visiting Burlington or developing here in Burlington. Sharing with the community, you know, if for anybody who's watching who feels, I didn't know we had an art gallery, that's because we haven't shared our services with them enough. And then influencing the visual culture of our times. So we want to become a center of excellence in Canada. We have some really specific areas of research that we're known for. Canadian ceramics, as well as a lot of heritage crafts, and we want to make sure that everyone in Canada, if not everyone in the world, knows that and looks to us for our knowledge and influence.
Well, I'd like to get into what guilds are your partners down there, but before we do that, we've got a caller. Laura, are you there?
I am. I'm here.
Okay, fire away with your question or comments.
Okay, hi. So I've actually been to a couple of other galleries in the surrounding areas, but the Art Gallery of Burlington struck me as a very unique place, and it was a very unique experience. So what I'm actually wondering is I'm wondering what this gallery's mission is. So what are your goals? And what did you do that provided such a unique experience?
Okay.
A question for you.
So
Yes, it's not for Mike and I, that's for sure.
So what makes the Art Gallery of Burlington different from any other in Canada is that we're not just a public art gallery or public art museum, depending on the lingo that you want to use. We're also a community arts center. And so it's not unusual at all for a town in Canada to have both a community arts center and a public art gallery. Very, very unusual, if we're not unique, to have it all in one organization. So in our 50,000 square feet, we'd have about 10,000 dedicated to exhibition, the kind of thing you'd expect to see at the Art Gallery of Ontario, the Art Gallery of Hamilton. But then we have, it must be in the 20,000 square foot sort of range of studio workshops, places where people can express themselves hands-on, and that's the guilds that you were talking about. We have 7 community art clubs that are resident in the studios, but they don't use them exclusively. You can come Sundays 1 to 4 and do a free family activity in our kids studio. We have tens of thousands of participants in our kids, youth, adult, seniors programs over the course of the year. So it really is, it's a hands-on environment. It's more like an art school. And we actually have, our studio facilities are as good as almost any art school.
And just before you ask your question, Mike, I want to ask Laura, was there a particular exhibit that you were interested in at the Burlington Art Gallery?
Well, actually, one of the things that really struck me, I liked the ceramic collection on display. It just seemed like something you don't see everywhere. You don't see it at a lot of other local areas. And it was so different, and it was so cool. It was amazing to come through the gallery and see these ceramics. It was just so different.
Yeah, and I thank you, Laura, for the call. Laura's right. It is, the ceramics are really unique, and if people haven't been down to the art gallery, please get down, because I think you'll be surprised at what the art gallery has to offer. And one of the issues that I have with the art gallery is that it hasn't come up north of the QEW. That's
Started a little bit.
But that's where we've got more people north of the QEW right now than south, and I'd like to see you really expand up there in the community centers that we've got up there.
Yeah, so we recently, with the support of the Trillium Foundation, which is the lottery funds, we were able to acquire a van and develop some programming that we can do in seniors' homes, community centers, parks, festivals. So you'll see us at this year's Lowville Festival. Probably in the Lowville United Church as our home base, which is an interesting place in that the library, the Burlington Public Library, and Community Development Halton are also running programs there, since Lowville is without a community center. And I think it's a model that's going to spread into some of the other rural areas, and we're happy to be partners with both of those, and I'd love to see us providing those services up there.
The caller is right on. We have lots of ceramics that aren't on display, and that if we had different facilities maybe, or some changes in the future that may happen, that we may be able to do a better job of displaying the actual collection that we actually have in ceramics.
Yeah. I can tell you a little bit more about it.
It's extensive, isn't it?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the ceramics, and then I want to ask you a question about what do you mean by craft?
Sure. So first, the ceramics. We have the world's largest collection of contemporary Canadian ceramic art. So it's not true if you miss any of those C's. We're from coast to coast to coast. We have work from every region of Canada, and our holdings. So the Gardner Museum of Ceramic Art in Toronto. Our holdings in that specialty of contemporary Canadian ceramic would be 3 times, 4 times the size of their holdings. We have everything from the dinner service sets that samples of the ones from Rideau Hall that the visiting heads of state eat off of, and teacups, all the way up to 1,000-pound items of just massive scale. And we do loan it out regularly enough. There's going to be an exhibition coming up later on in the year at the Gardner that'll have 3 or 4 works from our collection. We are really the collection of record for contemporary Canadian ceramics, and we want to grow and develop that. But I don't want to dwell. We can get to your question on
you
craft.
mentioned craft. Like when you say craft to me, that looks like me and my kids at home, you know, using popsicle sticks, making little crafts.
Yeah,
but what is craft in the art world?
So craft is a subset of art, right? Like, so art is big. Art's the biggest subject there's ever been. Our
So it's
pre-human.
like culture, then art.
Well, yeah. So craft is a specialty, and it's a specialty that's derived from the functional tradition. So materials, techniques, and processes that were originally invented somewhere in our history for the purpose of clothing, housing, equipping the human race, that have now moved in to the expressive realm. So woodwork, you know, instead of building homes or tools with it, now we make sculptures from it. Weaving and tapestries, instead of simply, and it's never simple, but instead of simply keeping us warm and clothed, becoming works of art. That's where it comes from. And it's sort of the separate branch from the pictorial tradition, you know, where where pictorial works have always been without functional purpose.
Right. And then what, so you mentioned craft, and we have, in my view, you know, the guilds and so on. Craft is a big importance to the Art Gallery of Burlington.
Absolutely.
And my understanding is that it's a big year for us. So, is there anything that you're doing at the Art Center to help promote the business of craft or the art of craft?
Absolutely. So, I should go back to saying that the Art Gallery of Burlington, like, craft is the mother of the Art Gallery of Burlington. We were born out of a worldwide craft revival in the 70s, part of, you know, the whole feminist movement and the recognition of the work of female artists as being, you know, equal to that of men. But we are hosting this summer, on view from about August 15th till the end of October, but with the real conference dates being September 15th, something called the Canadian Craft Biennial. In French, the Biennale Canadien des Métiers d'Art. And it's a national survey of the best of the best of craft art today. We'll have 70 makers from across the country. Wow. We're in partnership with all of the provincial craft councils, but no, we're collaborating with all the provincial craft councils. We're in partnership with Craft Ontario, our provincial craft council, and we will be having the show of 70 national masters, 30 emerging Ontario masters in a separate exhibition. We'll have a conference here at the Holiday Inn, one day here, one day in Toronto, of about 300 delegates. And to recognize the special relationship with Apeldoorn in the Netherlands, we'll be bringing in a master potter from Netherlands named Anton Renders. It's going to, and we're actually hoping the proceedings of the conference, I shouldn't say this, but I hope they're not watching. We're hoping that the proceedings of the conference are going to be published by Cambridge University Press in the UK. So, you know,
really?
we and the call for papers is already completed. We received responses from all around the world, you know, Middle East, Eastern Europe, South America, Australia, New Zealand. So we hope to have some of those speakers as well.
Wow, that's exciting.
Big banner.
How can Cogeco TV get involved in that? Because one of my other co-hosts, Deb Timstra, is big in the arts.
Good friend of ours.
And yes, I'm sure. And I'm sure Cogeco TV would like to be involved because I believe one of the executives is on the board.
That's right.
Cogeco is a great friend of the Art Gallery, one of our longest-term partners. And, you know, we're always happy to see Cogeco there. And everyone who comes into the Art Gallery these days can benefit from Cogeco's support of the arts by picking up the Cogeco audio guides, which this is only the second or third round of exhibitions we've ever had audio tours for, and that's all thanks to the generous community support of Cogeco.
The conference and the showing and that you said, I don't recall the Art Gallery of Burlington or the former Art Center having such a big event before that was of international significance. How does that fit into your strategic plan?
So it fits under the influence, the thought leadership and influence kind of pillar that I talked about at the end, trying to make sure that we share our knowledge widely and that we do our research deeply. But I don't want to undersell the past. Like, we currently have an exhibition touring in Scotland that opened at the Art Gallery of Burlington about just over a year ago. It left Burlington and went to Quebec City, then to the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia in Halifax, and now 4 venues on a Scottish tour.
Really?
Our curator, Denis Longchamp, is a world-renowned sort of expert in this. I think it was in '97 or thereabouts, we had a show tour to our sister city in Japan that also went to 3 or 4 Canadian venues. But, it is we do need the support of the community to be able to do these kinds of things, and it's a chicken and egg thing. When we have gone through tough times, we've turned inwards, but my direction is that if we do good work, the resources will follow, and that sometimes to gain the respect of the community, to gain the attention of the community, you have to make your influence known more widely.
Well, and on that point, with the large event in August, I mean, can the general public access?
Oh, of course.
This information?
Yeah.
And how can they get involved on a regular basis? I think we've got there we go. Can anyone just walk in? I lived in Burlington for years and never walked inside.
Well, Kim, please do come in. It's free every day, and it's open till 10, 3 nights a week. So there's no barriers to access.
The only barrier is being open. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
When there are big events down at Spencer Smith Park on a Sunday, you guys are closed.
Yeah, so we're working on that.
So open the doors, and you'll get bombarded with huge amounts of people. And
no, you're right. We're going to be we'll be Open Canada Day this year in celebration of the 150th. That's the first time in years. We were Open Family Day, and in the week between Christmas and New Year's. So we are getting to better understand that when you're in the recreation business, you have to be available when people have time for recreation. And that's another part of the, just reevaluating the community we're trying to serve. But yeah, there's never any admission. There's free family activities every Sunday, 1 to 4. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're open till 10 at night. And the other thing I would say is that although our kids' classes, our adults' classes do cost a significant user fee, we do have some donors who provide a substantial amount for financial assistance for youth. So please ask if you're interested in your child going, and we can probably make a deal.
And final question, if I'm living north of the QEW, where are you located?
Oh, so we are on Lakeshore Road between Nelson and Brock, which is directly across from one of the main access points to Spencer Smith Park. Spencer's on the waterfront is a good landmark, but you mentioned Space Composition for Rebecca by Hayden Davies, the red steel sculpture that's in front of us. That's a good landmark as well. Plenty of parking in the back on Elgin Street.